Go on a holiday in Kenya. We had a little private time away together with some friends, and I just decided that it was the right time, really.
The British monarchy is facing one of its most unexpected moments in decades, and it's not about politics or scandals. It's about a new child, a fourth princess. Yes, Catherine, long thought unable to have more children, has surprised the world. And now, the debate isn't about how it happened. It's about what her name will be and what it could mean for the future of the monarchy. Let's get into it. A bold choice. It was a quiet Saturday morning. The sun spilled softly across the walls of Windsor Castle. Inside, Prince William sat alone in his study, fingers drumming lightly against the mahogany desk. The same desk that had seen decades of decisions, triumphs, and regrets. But today's decision felt heavier than most, because today, they were considering adding a fourth child to the family. Catherine entered quietly, her presence calm but purposeful. She placed a hand on William's shoulder, a small gesture that carried the weight of reassurance. "Are we ready?" she asked softly. They had talked about this for months, weighing the joy against the scrutiny, the love against the relentless public gaze. 3 children had seemed perfect: George, Charlotte, and Louis. A family loved by millions. But now, something inside Catherine had shifted. Life, she reminded William, rarely follows the plans we make. The decision was not just personal. It was public, historic. Adding a child meant more than changing their household. It meant shaping the future of a centuries-old institution. William thought of his parents, of Diana, of Charles, and of the mantle of responsibility that would one day fall on George. And yet, he looked at Catherine, at the family they had built together, and the answer felt clear. And then, after a few months, it happened. The news quietly became reality. And when it did, the palace staff whispered in the corridors, the same whispers that would soon ripple across the globe. Catherine endured weeks of illness, canceling engagements, retreating from the public eye, yet she carried on with that quiet, unshakable resolve. And as they began to prepare for the next big decision, one that would define the new princess before she even took her first breath, they faced a question more complex than any before. A question that would shape history itself. The royal tradition. Long before the world even knew Catherine was expecting, one quiet conversation had already begun inside the palace. The conversation every royal parent eventually faces: the name. The history that comes with choosing just one word for a new life. For most families, naming a baby is a moment of joy, something light, something personal. But for the royal family, it was never that simple. A royal name carried stories, expectations, and shadows from centuries past. And today, William felt that weight more than anyone. He remembered the names tied to his own life: Diana, Elizabeth, Margaret, Victoria. Names that weren't just names, they were eras, they were symbols, they were memories the world refused to let fade. Catherine understood the pressure too, but from a different place. She hadn't grown up with crowns or palaces, yet she respected the traditions woven through the monarchy. She knew some traditions were heavy, but some held families together. And now, whatever name they chose for their fourth child, it had to honor both the past and the future. In the palace, old advisors, historians, and even distant relatives offered gentle suggestions. Some names felt too grand, others too old, others too burdened by the lives that came before. William and Catherine wanted something different this time, something royal, but still tender and alive, because this child was not just another royal baby. She was a sign of change, a symbol of the love William and Catherine had built, despite every raised eyebrow around them. And on one quiet evening, as the two of them talked in the soft glow of lamplight, they knew the moment to choose a name was near, a name that would carry meaning for years to come. But what was that name, and what happened after it was chosen? The name of the child. The day finally came when they sat down to choose the name that would follow their daughter for the rest of her life. William stood by the window of their Kensington home, watching the rain trace soft lines across the glass. Catherine sat on the couch nearby, a notebook in her lap. names written and crossed out again and again. They had done this before, but this time felt different. This child carried a quieter place in the line of succession. Yet somehow the name felt even more important. Catherine read out a few options. William shook his head at some, smiled at others. Some names felt too heavy, others felt too light. Some belonged to a history they didn't want to repeat. Others carried stories they hoped their daughter would grow into. And then, Catherine spoke one name, a single word that filled the room with sudden stillness. William looked up slowly. "Say it again," he murmured. She did. And something settled between them, a feeling they both understood without having to explain. It was soft. It was timeless. It carried an old English beauty, yet felt fresh and new. Rose. They sat with the name for a long moment, letting it breathe. Then, the middle names. Threads that tied their daughter to the women who shaped their family's past. Alice, a tribute to courage and compassion. Diana, a name that carried love, memory, and a promise William never forgot. When they said the full name out loud for the first time, Rose, Alice, Diana, it felt complete. It felt right. But the world wouldn't simply accept it, not quietly. And when the name finally left the palace walls, everything changed. The public reaction. From London to the far corners of the world, the news spread like wildfire. Social media exploded. On every screen appeared the announcement, a new princess named Rose, Alice, Diana. People shared their joy, their surprise, their curiosity. Royal commentators rushed to explain the significance of each name. Some called it perfect, a delicate balance of history and modernity. Others argued it was too safe, missing a chance to make a bolder statement. At the flower shops, roses flew off the shelves. Baby name websites crashed under the sudden surge of traffic. Expectant parents debated whether to include Rose on their own lists. Across the Commonwealth, children's nurseries and playgrounds suddenly echoed with whispered possibilities. Could we meet a little Rose someday? Inside the palace, the reactions were quieter, but no less meaningful. King Charles sent a brief statement of delight, noting the connection to multiple branches of the family. Queen Camilla smiled for the cameras, but offered no comment. Prince Harry and Meghan sent a private message, congratulating William and Catherine. Princess Anne, true to her dry humor, called it a perfectly sensible choice. Even distant relatives quietly shared their approval. The world might react in bursts of excitement or criticism, but for William and Catherine, the name was already a promise. A promise to their daughter, a promise to the family, a promise to the monarchy. And as the initial excitement settled, one question lingered. How would this little girl, carrying such a powerful name, shape the future of the family and the monarchy itself? The future. Rose, Alice, Diana was born into a world full of expectations, yet she was still just a child. George, as the future king, carried responsibilities no one else could fully understand. Charlotte showed hints of confidence and charm, while Louis was still discovering who he was. And Rose, she would grow up in the shadows of her siblings, the fourth child, free in some ways, but still part of the monarchy story. Catherine understood better than anyone what it meant to be the quiet one in a family. She had seen her own siblings living life without constant attention, learning that you could exist outside the spotlight and still make an impact. She wanted the same for Rose, freedom to play and explore, even with a royal title. She also thought of Diana, her mother-in-law's warmth, her courage, and her love that had left a lasting mark. She hoped Rose could carry that same blend of strength and heart in her own way. William thought about balance, too. Rose's upbringing would need careful guidance, a mix of support and independence, tradition and personal choice. He whispered to himself that he would teach her what Diana had tried to show him, the importance of kindness, honesty, and connection. 6 weeks after her birth, Rose was christened in the Chapel Royal at St. James's Palace. The guest list was small, intimate, only those who mattered most. Photographs showed Rose in the delicate lace gown worn by generations before her, peaceful in her mother's arms. William stood close to George, Charlotte, and Louis. Proud and protective, Catherine's smile radiated calm joy. A family complete, yet facing a future full of possibilities. Even with every photograph taken and every announcement made, no one could say who Rose would truly become. Would she embrace the life of royalty gracefully, or follow a journey only she could imagine? Her name, Rose Alice Diana, carried meaning and history, but the life she would lead was hers alone to write. As the sun set over Windsor Castle, William held his daughter gently, thinking of every royal child who had come before her. Deep inside, he hoped she would learn what truly mattered: kindness, courage, and the freedom to be herself. And with that, the story of the newest princess and her family's future had only just begun. So here we are, a family that has faced expectations, scrutiny, and history itself, now welcoming a fourth princess into their world. Will this new royal child, Rose Alice Diana, live up to the legacy or create her own story? And what does her arrival say about the future of the monarchy? Share your thoughts about this in the comments below. If you like this video, ensure you give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because we will be uploading more crazy stories like this one in the coming weeks. Until then, see ya!